Okay guys, this is going to be extremely hard to film, but what we have here is the harness for the taillights. And on my truck, these old Chevys, what you do is you unplug the taillight harness. I think this side will plug into the side that's coming more from like the front of the cab, and then this end can go back to where your taillights will connect to. And then from there, it gives you one of these 4-pin trailer plugs. The way our LED light bar works is it's actually got a plug here. So pretty much you're going to be using the 4-pin to plug into your light bar. So let's just say once these are plugged in and then you find a good ground for this little guy, you will literally, you know, once you have your bar mounted up, you can literally just plug this in. And these are brand new, so it's going to take a little bit of wiggling here. But you'll literally just plug these in, and then that'll feed power to your light bar. It's going to be very hard the way my hitch is mounted to kind of show you where I'm filming, because it's very hard to get my fingers in there even. I'll go ahead, get that up, and see if I can show you a little bit of footage of what it looks like, as long as my camera will reach in there. And then we'll get to mounting the actual bar up itself, positioning it, and then plugging it in and making sure it works. Okay, I've got it plugged up. Let me grab my phone light. It's going to be very hard to see. Right there is where one of the plugs is. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be really possible to see from this angle, but you can see where one's plugged in, and then it's literally plugged in directly behind it too, like more towards the front of the vehicle. Now, what I'm going to do is I'd like to use this ground here where I have my reverse pod lights, but the connection that they gave me on this thing is super tiny. So I'm going to go ahead and splice one of these new fisheye connectors on. I don't know why that won't focus, but that will literally allow me to fit that perfectly there. So I'm going to go ahead, splice this on, ground that, mount up the light bar, and then plug it in. Okay, I'm going to take that bolt out, put this up, so we'll have a solid ground. Just wanted to show you that that's how I have it ran grounded. And with all this excess, I'm going to end up just zip tying it all up to make it tidy. And then once I find out where the light bar is going, I'll find out how much I need to actually stick out the plug in. Okay, at first I had kind of marked this up between where the tailgate sat. You can just barely see. I made a little mark there and a little mark there. I don't think that one's picking up too well, but that would show me how much room I had in between where the bottom of this thing sits and where this sits. I just figured to get the most clean and straight shot, I would just take the tailgate off. That way I can see that it gets on there as straight as possible, and I won't have any issues because I've already made these little guidelines to show me where I need to sit across the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead, get that pinned up, and then see what we have to do about running the wires to make it look clean. Another point I wanted to make real quick too was to to see which side our wiring is coming in. I want to make sure, obviously, left is going to be left and right turn is going to be right turn, instead of, you know, flick the right one and the side over here is blinking. So, got the lights on right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit left and right just to make sure we have the right ones going. Okay, let's see what's happening. Yep, so that's left turn. So right there, I would have already wired it in backwards because my leads for the wiring come over here. So I know I'm gonna have to run it across over here and then flip this around. Let's just make sure right turn actually turns right. So we know that will go on the other side. All right, wanted to show you guys how it looked like with it all mounted up, wired up, and right now I just have the hazards on and the running lights on, and I think it looks pretty sweet. It's gonna look even better with the tailgate on. And honestly, the main reason for me wanting to do this, obviously other than it looking pretty dope, is the fact that, I mean, obviously with these older Chevys, the taillights aren't great, but there was it wasn't an old body style, but it was somewhat newer, but we had a super heavy rainstorm, I wanna say 2 weekends ago, and I could hardly see this truck's taillights, but he did have a lower bar like this, and I was like, dude, you know what? I'm sold. That's the defining reason, because with a nice long strip of LED, even if your taillights are blown, for example, there's no way you're gonna miss that. So let me get the tailgate back on. I'm actually gonna wire reverse because I just think reverse lights are awesome, especially for seeing in dark areas. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get that wired up, come back, make sure everything works, and then put the tailgate back on and try and get some nighttime shots. Okay guys, here's the big moment of truth to see if everything works. Okay, now that it's dark out, we can see what the lights really look like. Keys will help.